Good evening and welcome to Funny Like a Clown podcast. I am your host, Dennis Wirth, episode 12, coming out of Beantown, that's Boston. It is February 10th, 2019. And as always, Funny Like a Clown podcast is brought to you by G Vegas Buffalo Sauce for the spicy, sweet, savory taste of game time. There is only one G Vegas available at gvegas.webs.com. And on the phone, I have another Boston guy, actor Baker Halleran. Halleran, right? How you doing, Baker?
Good. How's it going? Thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
No, we appreciate you coming on. So we got a couple of Boston guys on here. Beantown, were you born and bred in Boston, or?
Yeah, I actually was born in Oklahoma City, and I moved to the Boston area when I was about 3 years old, right outside of Boston, one of the suburbs.
What town in the suburb you live in?
Wellesley and Dover, Massachusetts.
Wellesley and Dover, right down the street.
Minutes. Yeah, about 15, 20 minutes right outside the city.
So how long did you live there for?
Oh, God. So I was about 18, almost 19, then I did a little stint at Fordham University business school. I thought I was going to do investment banking, and that wasn't really one of my dreams, so I dropped out of there, and then I moved to Milan and Paris for some modeling, and I was there for about 6 months, and yeah, now I've been out in LA for a few years pursuing the acting. And
So what made you get the itch for acting? What made you want to be an actor?
when I was a kid, I was a star athlete. I was playing soccer, ice hockey, and lacrosse, and I excelled in sports, and I would always do the school plays to meet the pretty girls, and yeah, and I just fell in love with acting through doing school plays, theater, and whatnot. So my two dreams as a kid were to play baseball for the Boston Red Sox or be a movie star, and I guess I couldn't cut it for the Sox. So
Movie star it was, but there's a lot of people who want to, do the dream that you did and just, drop what they're doing and go pursue the dream. But was it tough to you to sell off all your stuff and make the move out there and make the leap? How hard was that for you to do?
Yeah, I was in New York City for about 4 years, and then after some modeling and taking some acting classes, I had just heard Los Angeles there was more opportunity for film and TV. So yeah, I mean I can't complain. I love LA. It's got beautiful weather, beautiful beaches. Yeah, so it's a lot of pretty girls. So I'm not mad at it. I love it out here. Very grateful.
Really? So your reception was good out there?
Yeah, so far so good. I've got a lot of good stuff going on right now. I just recently shot an episode of the hit show on Fox called 911. I played an LAPD officer.
Really?
That was exciting. Next week I'll be auditioning for the hit show on FX called Snowfall for a recurring role playing a cop. So yeah, I'm actually friends with one of the leads on the show. So that's I really enjoy the show, so I'm looking forward to that opportunity. Then I have some big things coming up that I had to sign non-disclosures for that I can't really exactly talk about right now, but I'll keep you posted.
They got to stay tuned, right? So if the fans listening to the podcast wanted to stay tuned, how would they go about looking you up? Facebook or Instagram or?
I'm not much of a Facebook guy. I'm more of an Instagram guy. You can find me. It's at Baker Baker, last name Halleran, Halleran, at Baker Halleran on Instagram, and I reply right away to all my fans.
Okay, so if they follow you there, you pretty much post what you got coming up when you can?
Yeah, exactly. And then I also got this other thing in the works. My roommate and I are working on a show called Street Smarts, which we're working on some episodes of that. That's very exciting. And I also just paid a writer who's written a movie for James Franco to write me a pilot script, 52-page pilot with a Bible for episodes 2 through 10, and then a short film, like a 15-page short film based on the pilot.
Sure.
For me to use as a starring vehicle. It's going through a rewrite right now, but it's got a very good reception, and it's kind of like a Boogie Nights meets Sopranos. It's got the gangs, the violence, the deception, the sex, the drugs, the betrayal, but I think at the heart of it, it's got the family. It's got my relationship with my little daughter, and yeah, family.
So there's some of you in the movie too. But how do you find the connections out there? Do you hire an agent, or how do you find who to pitch this movie to?
Yeah, with my my credits and my headshots and demo reel. I shop around for agents and managers, and I take meetings, and hopefully I find one that believes in me, and likewise I believe in them. And then they submit you, and they get you auditions, and I'm in classes all the time. I'm doing private workshops with casting directors. I'm doing plays. I'm full in. I'm all in. And I think I was saying, yeah, family's important to me. I don't have much family out here.
Right.
I live with my roommate Brendan Wentworth. He's like a brother to me, and I'm going to give a couple shout outs right now, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and his two brothers are my other two best friends, Gavin Wentworth, Rory Wentworth. They're back in Connecticut. I got Craig Levy in Boston. He's in Wellesley. I got Billy Forte in San Francisco, and I'm sure there's a few others, but
Yeah, people don't realize you don't make it by yourself. It's your friends who support you and help you out. They're really the backbone of what you do.
I'll tell you who inspires me. It's my family that inspires me. I grew up with a wonderful family, loving family, mother, father, sister. My father was my best friend. He was my hero. He was from New York City, 6'2", handsome as they come, movie star looks himself. And he always put his family first. He always took me to Bruins games and ice hockey games.
Right.
And unfortunately, he passed away almost 20 years ago. About 20 years ago from cancer. And it broke my heart. But
You want to do the family proud in his memory, right?
Yeah. His name's Leo Baker Halleran Jr., and I'm Leo Baker Halleran III. He always went by Leo.
So you carry on the tradition, right?
I want to make him proud, and now I'm very close to my mother and sister. I'm a mama's boy now, you might say. My sister's my best friend, although growing up I was quite a bit of a troublemaker, if you will. I was always in trouble with my mom, always talking back, annoying my little sister, but I guess that comes when you're a young punk, and I think I've grown up quite a bit.
Welcome to the streets of Boston. We were all punks at one point, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, you see these Guns N' Roses videos, Welcome to the Jungle, and all the stuff on TV. When you get to LA, the city's gonna chew you up and spit you out, and you're gonna be starving and sleeping in gutters. I mean, did you experience any of that, or?
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna be completely honest, I work as a bartender at the most popular nightclub in LA. I'm the bar manager at the place called Poppy, and I work there about 3 nights a week. And wonderful people to work for. A lot of celebrities come in: Leonardo Dicaprio, Justin Bieber, all the Lakers, etc., etc. But it wasn't always like that out here. There were times where I was living in. I've lived in 2 different closets in LA.
Don't know where your next meal's coming from, right?
I'd be in ramen noodles. I've been a struggling actor at points, and some might say a starving actor, but yeah, right now I'm not starving so much. I make a good income, and I can afford acting.
Well, some of the biggest stars of our time, they went through what you're going through now. Before, in order to make it, they had to go through that.
Yeah. Brad Pitt used to dress up in a chicken suit outside El Pollo Loco, and he used to drive strippers around in a limo. Johnny Depp used to sell pencils over the phone, and Bruce Willis used to be a bartender. So for me, bartending is a great gig. It's 12 hours a week. The tips are incredible, and the networking's all there. I'm working at the most popular nightclub in the country.
That keeps you surviving while you get to chase your dream. But that's what separates, the stars from the people who are wannabes. A lot of people tuck tail and go home. They get discouraged, and some people stick it out, and they go on to be the legends.
Oh, yeah, I moved out here with about 5 different friends, and unfortunately, within 3, 4, 5 years, all 5 of them are gone. Some of them are doing carpentry, others are selling real estate,
right.
Et cetera, and each their own. But I've never given up. I know where I'm heading. I have full confidence.
Right, the city beat them up, but you're still sticking at it, right? But how dirty? I mean, in Boston, it's all this. I do stand-up comedy, and there's 3 parts of comedy. I tell people if they want advice, there's the being funny, the business part, and the political part. And unfortunately, the political part and the business part come way before being funny. But I mean, has anything ever weird happened to you when you went in to read for a role? I mean, is everybody,
I don't know if you're talking about the casting couch or something like that, but no, not really so much that. But,
hasn't happened to you, no?
No, these auditions are, they're pretty straightforward. No one's really coming on to you or making promises, or at least for me.
Right.
And a lot of these auditions nowadays actually our self-tape auditions. I actually have, aside from having a film, TV, modeling, commercial agent in Los Angeles, as well as a manager, I have a agent in Atlanta because there's a lot of film and TV work being shot in Atlanta, New Orleans. So
Yeah, everybody thought of Hollywood as, which it still is, the mainstream, but even here in Boston, they got Boston Casting, and they're starting to film some movies out here. It's becoming a worldwide thing.
yeah, my roommate and I we know Angela Perry at Boston Casting. I think she's the head of casting there, and a very sweet woman, and nothing but. We actually put ourselves on tape for the Equalizer 2 self-tape for the Denzel Washington
Yeah.
movie that was shot in Boston, and yeah, I was just saying, there's a lot of self-tapes in Atlanta. I just actually last week put myself on tape for this new movie that these casting directors cast all the Marvel movies.
But is there a lot of luck involved? Because I know they call them what, cattle calls, where if you get you can go in and read for a big movie, pretty much, 1,000 people show up. What are your odds? I mean, do you have to know somebody out there or just get lucky?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like everybody's kind of good-looking and talented. Well, not everybody, but I guess it's kind of who you know or who you network with and how well you're trained and prepared. And I like to think I come from a theater background. I did some plays in New York and stuff, and at theater school and whatnot. And yeah, it's just a tough business. So you have to be on your game, or you're going to get
So you never know when your chance is going to come. So you got to be ready 24/7. Because when it does come, you better damn well be ready to deliver, right?
Yeah. And some people will tell me maybe you should go get your real estate license, or maybe you should go sell insurance, or this and that. And I don't really have a plan B, if we're being honest. I'm just kind of focused on my plan A, and
Follow your dream. You can never go wrong in life, right?
yeah, I see big things happening, and I think there's kind of started coming to fruition. I've been kind of manifesting my own destiny. I've been doing a lot of meditation lately. I've actually made a lot of sacrifices this year. I'm clean and sober now. I'm not no more
Partying all night, working all day now.
Yeah, no more booze, no more marijuana.
Well, that's the lifestyle. It'll suck you into that really quick, and you got to realize that ain't going to get you far. It's tough to realize.
Yeah, no, I'm very clear-headed right now, and I have a vision, and I'm trying to stay focused and not let anything get in the way. But yeah, it's really exciting being from Boston. I mean, I'm a big sports fan, as I think you are too. I was fortunate enough to go to games 1 and 2 of the World Series this year at Fenway Park. We just had our Patriots win it again.
Again.
Celtics are doing pretty good.
So who's your big team out of Boston? If you had to pick one of the big four.
It's the New England Patriots. They say
Patriots, right?
They say about Tom Brady, girls want him and guys want to be him, and I'm probably just one of those guys that wants to be him because I think he's the greatest.
Yeah, every year you think this can't go on, and it just keeps going on. It amazes you even, and you're from the town, like, wow, I can't. Right back at it.
Yeah, he's a real winner, and I know he's a family guy, which is what I want someday. My family, like I said, I'm close to my mother and sister, my aunt Mickey, my uncle Maddie. I love them very much. My brother Tom, that's my sister's husband, and my new nephew, who's got my full heart, Anders. I love him so much.
So now, do you get any shit out there in L.A. because that's Rams country there, and do they give you trouble because you're a Boston guy, or?
Oh yeah. I get my chops busted a lot, but I wear that Brady jersey. If you see on my Instagram, I wear that Brady jersey proud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I know even in comedy, if you travel to other part of the country, a lot of people don't talk like the way we do up here in Boston. Up here in Boston, we constantly break balls, So I mean, if you're out there in LA and you say, "Hey, my Patriots are going to take your Rams by the horn and fuck them in the ass for the Super Bowl," I'll be, they're like, "Oh my God, that's the meanest thing I ever heard. Why would you say that?" It's like,
right.
No, I'm just breaking balls. That's what we do in Boston. I don't mean nothing by it. Calm down. But do you get a lot of that out there?
Yeah, no, I bust a lot of chops too, and sometimes people can be a little sensitive, but
Right.
I let it go. Boston's its own city, and I sure miss the Italian food in the North End and the pastries at Mike's Pastries and the sausage and peppers outside of Fenway Park.
Some good eating down there in Boston for sure. Yeah, one of the few towns you can't offend anybody that's left in the world. Everywhere else, everybody's offended by everything, right? But
yeah, I remember growing up. My mother, father, my sister, we would always go to this one of the best seafood restaurants in Boston called No Names, and we would get the fried shrimp and clams and linguine, and it was just.
Right, because we're right on the ocean here. You go, Central Mass. They say you got to order the beef because by the time the seafood gets there, it's nothing like you'd eat here.
Yeah, and one of my favorite restaurants in the world. If someone asked me, what would your last meal be? Because I'm quite a bit of a foodie. I don't cook really ever, so I'm eating out every meal. And
Right.
It's not always an expensive meal. I can eat $1. They have trucks out here with dollar tacos, but there's this place in Boston, South Natick to be precise. It's been there for about 100 years, called Casey's Diner. And my father brought me there for the first time when I was 5 years old, and all my best friends would be in there, and they would agree it's the best hot dog and best cheeseburger around. I get 2 dogs all around, which is onion relish, mustard, and then I get 2 burgers all around, 2 cheeseburgers, which is mustard relish, heavy onion in, and those things just melt in your mouth. And,
That's Boston eating right there. Game time. You got to have your burgers and dogs, right?
Sure, and then Linden Street Deli in Wellesley, they make the best sandwiches in the league. But yeah, I food, travel, sports, movies. I could talk about movies and that sort all day. Goodfellas, Casino, that sort of gangster vibe. Departed. My favorite TV show, I would have to say, is The Sopranos.
Really? So yeah, Frank Santarelli. He's on the comedy. He was in The Sopranos. He was Georgie the bartender. He's big on the Boston comedy scene. I've opened for him a couple of times, but who are some of the actors that inspired you when you were young that you really look up to as great actors?
I would have to say my favorite actor is probably Leonardo Dicaprio. His work just speaks for itself, and yeah, I met him actually. I had a story at my nightclub a few years ago. He came into the VIP. I was bartending, and he came up to the bar with 3 20-year-old supermodels hanging on him like a cheap suit. And
living the dream.
Oh yeah, the owner came up to me and said, "Get Leo whatever he wants." This is my first time meeting him, so I go, "Okay, no problem." So he sounds very nice. He kind of sounds like. So he goes up to me. He orders. He goes, "May I please have 3 Grey Goose sodas?" And then he turns around and looks at one of the other girls, and 1 gin and tonic. I go, "Yeah, no problem, Leo." When he goes to pay with a $100 bill, so I don't take. I go, "No, Leo, we got this. This is on you. This is on us." And then he goes, "Oh, well, I want you to take this for a tip." And I go, "Oh, man, that means so much to me. Thank you so much." So
never forgot where he came from. I love people like that.
Oh, yeah, he turns around, and I thought, you know what, I want to tell him something, because The Departed, starring him, Jack Nicholson, Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
By the way, those are my other favorite actors, Mark Wahlberg, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, the Boston Boys.
Beantown guys, right?
So, yeah, I tap Leo on the shoulder, and he turns around, and I go, "Hey, man, I just want to let you know, I thought you did an absolutely amazing, outstanding, phenomenal job in The Departed, and I thought you killed it. I would have thought you were from Boston. Your accent was so darn good." And he gives me the handshake, and he brings me in like a brother and holds me and gives me a hug, and that meant everything to me.
Right, sure. That's the stuff. That stuff inspires you to want to someday get there. But yeah. I guess he's best known for Titanic. I'm trying to think. It was an old western he did with Gene Hackman. Do you remember the name of it?
Yes, I remember. It's something from Dawn Till Dead, or Dusk Till Dawn, or something The Dead. Yeah, it was Gene Hackman. I remember Sharon Stone was in it.
Sharon Stone, yeah. And it was kind of a B movie, but I always thought it was done very well. I loved his part in there. It was.
Yeah, and then one of my other favorite movies, which honestly inspired me to want to become an actor, was Good Will Hunting, obviously with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, directed by the great Gus Van Sant.
Right.
And also starring the late Robin Williams, who won the Academy Award that year. He was just phenomenal.
I got a friend of mine, Colleen Coughlin. She had a small role in that movie. She had a speaking line, but and she still got the old pictures of her and Leonardo back when they shot the movie. She only had a couple seconds in the movie, but she got to meet him, so that had to be cool. But so who would I mean other than Leonardo DiCaprio? Who would you want to work with if somebody said you could work with any actor you dream? Who's your dream guy to work with?
Yeah, I would probably say Mark Wahlberg. I love his movies. I love his work ethic. I love how he stuck to his Boston roots. I would say Tom Hardy. He inspires me. Yeah, I mean, there's so many great actors.
Would you ever thought when they were doing New Kids on the Block he'd go on to be the great actor that he is?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that? I'm sorry,
I said, would you ever thought when they were doing New Kids on the Block that he'd go on to be the great actor that he is?
Right. That was his brother, Donnie Wahlberg, but who was in New Kids on the Block. But Mark Wahlberg, he had his own. He was like a rapper, like Marky Mark and the Funky
Right,
Bunch.
something like that. Yeah, it was all these kids you saw on MTV, and
yeah, was a Calvin Klein underwear model, and then his big breakout movie was one of my favorite films, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, which is called Boogie Nights. And there's certain movies when they're on, I can watch them over and over and over again. Boogie Nights, Shawshank Redemption, Goodfellas, Good Will Hunting.
The classics, right?
But yeah, so I would say probably Mark Wahlberg, Leonardo DiCaprio, obviously Matt Damon or Ben Affleck, and they're actually producing a new television show, which I'm trying to get my agent to submit me on. It's called City on a Hill, which I believe they're casting and shooting in New York City or out of New York, but it's kind of like I think it's about the FBI and the mob or something like that in Boston.
Well, they were casting Ted 2 was up here, and I went out. I figured there was an open call, so I went down to Boston Casting, and there was a line around the street, down the corner, almost. I mean, it was so ridiculous. Then we didn't even get inside. We got close. Everybody said they got a big bucket, said just drop your resume in here and leave. And it's like, does that ever discourage you, where you put on all that work to drive in to read and you don't even get a chance, or is that just part of the business and you got to take it?
Yeah, I guess that's part of the business, but usually my appointments are made through my agent or manager, so it's not like a 500-person cattle call. Although I will say for commercials, I was just up about 3-4 months ago for a big Mercedes-Benz national commercial, and I was put on a veil, which means it's between me and one other guy. And I thought I was going to get it, and it turned out I didn't get it. But yeah, like when I went in for that audition, I think I was holding up, I was like number 120 or something. They probably see a couple hundred guys, and they're going to narrow it down to 5, and then they're going to choose one. So commercials more cattle call. But just to get an audition out here for film and TV, my agent and manager tell me they're getting 3,000 submissions minimum, and they're bringing in maybe 30 actors for one part. So that means 1 out of 300 actors are getting the audition. The other 299 actors are not getting the audition.
So the odds aren't great. You need that one big break. But once you get that one big break, it's easier to find work after that, because then you're a known commodity, correct?
Right. It's like kind of like it's the catch-22. Like when you're first starting out, they say, how do you get credits without an agent or a manager, and how do you get a good manager without having good credits? So it's kind of like.
Have you found any answers to those questions or no?
Yeah, I think it's really about doing your own stuff, producing your own content, whether it's short films, web series, a pilot like that one that was written for me, and just really believing in it and going after it instead of just kind of waiting around by the phone for that next phone call that may or may not come.
I do a lot of big stuff in comedy, and people say, how do you do it? I say, I outwork everybody, I mean, if somebody's doing something for you, great. If they're not, you better be doing something yourself, not just sitting by the phone, and sounds like you're doing some stuff yourself, as addition to what you're getting.
Yeah, one of my resolutions for the new year was, I guess you could say one of my fears is to do stand-up comedy. And one of my goals this year, which I will make happen at some point, I'm not going to say when, but this year I'm going to at least try to do a few, 5-minute stand-up open mic nights and prepare a scene, maybe take a few comedy classes. I know it's not just given, or it's not just.
Yeah, I always give the advice: take a class. That'll get you over your fear. And when you go up there, don't try to be a comic. Just try to be yourself and be funny, and you get the best reception. Most people try up there and they try too hard to be a comic, and that's where they fail.
Yeah.
So what's in your future? If you had some dream stuff that's coming up,
I would say getting my television show produced and starring in that, and ultimately getting it to a network like HBO, Netflix, Showtime. I think they say usually from start to finish when you first bring a script to people, it's like a 2 to 3 year process, and I'm at the beginning of it. So, a couple big directors, writers have looked at it, and they said it's about 80% there, and I think they said they see something in it, and they want the writer, my good friend Michael Herman, who wrote a movie for James Franco, who graduated first in his class with his MFA from USC a few years back. He's going to do a rewrite on this over the next couple months, and we're going to present it again to some of these big-name people and then go from there. But that, ideally, and then also guest starring and co-starring, and it is pilot season now, so they're shooting a lot of the new TV shows. So the ultimate goal would be to book a series regular on a pilot, which, may or may not go to series. But in the near future, definitely some more co-stars and guest stars on some hit TV shows, getting my pilot produced, shooting my own short film and submitting that to film festivals,
Right.
And, just staying clean and sober, traveling as much and as often as I can. That's what I live for. I love
But that's like, I
traveling.
mean, they're like a factory out there, you know. I mean, if you go to LA, they're like a factory putting out movies. Where if you come to, I live in Gardner, we put out chairs. That's what we do. We're
Right.
pumping out chairs. They're pumping out movies out there. So I mean, you meet a lot of people with the same interests as you, and you get a lot of connections. So it's good being
Yeah,
among
you're
the
right.
people where anything can happen because you're fighting the same fight together, right?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to stay humble, stay focused, work as hard as I can, because someone will tell you there's always someone younger, better looking, more talented than you, but
Looking to
there's
take your
only
job,
one
right?
you. There's only one you.
All right. So if I went out to LA, what's the top two things I got to see out in LA?
Uh, the pretty beaches and the pretty girls.
Pretty beaches and the pretty girls. All right. And if someone was coming to Boston, what's the top two things you'd recommend they see here?
I would say Fenway Park and a nice Italian dinner in the North End.
That's a good record. Ain't many parks like Fenway left, man. That's old school right there, right?
That's the best park. I've never been to Wrigley Field in Chicago, which I heard is kind of like that, but Fenway's got its own character. And I would have said the old Boston Garden, where I used to go with my old man.
Yeah, that's my first team was the Celtics. I grew up on them, but I grew up watching them on TV. Tommy Heinsohn and Mike Gorman. They became my friends before I even liked the players. I was like, I'm gonna tune and watch the game with my friends Tommy and Mike through the TV, and I grew to love the players after that.
Yeah, I remember I have the fond memories of going with my father to the old Boston Garden, watching the Bruins play all the time. The old, Ray Bork, Cam Neely, Andy Moog, Glenn Wesley, Donato, all those guys. And, Ray Bork growing up was probably my idol, number 77.
All right, so let's go down the list. We're Boston guys. We're a couple Beantown guys. All right, the Patriots. Are they going to repeat next year? Yes or no?
100%, yes. Gronkowski comes back. Hopefully he signs a 2-year
That's a
deal.
big if.
I know he's getting offers like people like Mark Wahlberg and Sylvester Stallone that come to Hollywood, will make you a movie star.
All right, you don't have to beat up your body to be a movie star.
I know he's getting offers from the WWE to be a wrestler like
Wrestling.
Dwayne Johnson was. But if we can get Gronkowski back, if we can get Edelman back, Brady stays healthy, we 100% win next year.
Tough to bet against their record. All right, Red Sox. They're going to repeat? Yes or no?
Yes, they are 100%.
All right, so double championship town again next year. Okay. Celtics. They gonna keep it together and win a championship here or what?
I just wanted to say I love Mookie Betts on the Red Sox. He's a class act. The Celtics, they need to get. They're not going to get. I love them so much, and I want to say yes, but they're not going to get through the Warriors. They're not going to get through the Rockets. Kyrie Irving is one of the best point guards in the league.
Do you think he'll stick around, Kyrie, after this year or no?
No, I don't. I think he's going to leave, and he's going to come to LA and reunite with LeBron, and then they're going to try to bring someone like Anthony Davis or somebody.
Well, I think that's the Celtics' plan is to bring in Anthony Davis, and if they get him trade for him, then Kyrie's going to want to stay here. You think that could happen?
I don't know. No, because I just saw on ESPN like 2 weeks ago, and I don't know how true this is. I don't know if it was Anthony Davis' father or something, but
Yeah, but that's the politics of the time. He was saying that to fit, what he needed for the time.
Yeah, the way they treated Isaiah Thomas, he said he doesn't want that.
Yeah, I did hear that, but I mean, more of that was the politics of the time is why he said that, because he wanted to make a Lakers deal, which didn't happen, but time will tell. What about our Bruins? Are Bruins going to do anything in the future, you see, or?
I don't know. That's hard to say. I don't want to say either way, but I love the Bruins hockey. Honestly, growing up, before I found lacrosse in about 7th or 8th grade, I was on skates at 3, 4 years old with my old man. My pops used to bring me at 5 a.m. to practice. We'd go out for breakfast after, get some donuts. He was always eating the mini Dunkin' Donuts on the side, drinking his coffee, extra cream, extra sugar. So, yeah, hockey's got a special place in my heart.
Right.
I used to play. Dover didn't have a team, so I played for Needham Mass growing up, and that was the fondest memories, traveling, doing tournaments in Canada, tournaments in Washington, D.C.
If you grew up watching Ray Bork and Roger Clemens, and Steve Grogan, you'd be envious of what we've been through, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'll tell you a quick story. I was in 2004 when the Red Sox were down 3-0 against the Yankees, and everyone ruled them out. Well, they came back and made it 3-3, and I went to Game 7 in Yankee Stadium, and I sat by myself because none of my friends could afford the ticket. I think I paid $300-400 for a nosebleed. So I go there, I'm wearing my David Ortiz jersey up in the nosebleed. And I'm knocking back some beers. I think I'm 22, 23. I'm tying a good one on, having a good time. And I'm talking a little smack to these Yankees fans. And these two Yankees fans, I think it was the seventh inning after Johnny Damon, when Damon was playing for the Red Sox, hit the grand slam. And that sealed the game. The Red Sox were, in fact, going to the World Series. A-Rod and Jeter were going home. And I started talking shit. These two Yankees fans throw beers on me. I turn around, throw beers on them. We get in a fist fight.
It's known for being rowdy over there, yeah.
Yep. NYPD comes up. They put me in handcuffs. I'm getting walked out of the stadium in handcuffs, and the whole upper stadium's going, "See you later. See you later." And they're doing that to me, and I'm turning around going, "Fuck you, losers. We're going to World Series." And A-Rod and Captain Dipshit Jeter, they're going to play golf. So, long story short, they let me out of the stadium. The cops say, "You got to sober up and stop talking shit." I say, "Yes, sir, I apologize." They take the handcuffs on. I go home. We go to the World Series. We win the whole darn thing. And next thing you know, we win it the first time since 1918, and we've won it 3 or 4 times since then. So
And Bill Buckner, we forgive you, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Billy Buckner, that's a tough one to forgive, but we'll let it slide for now.
Well, you know, we've seen each team win a championship in our lifetime, and that's something our grandparents would be envious of. Well, Baker Halleran, I want to wish you luck in the future with your acting career. I thank you for being on Funny Like a Clown podcast, and keep fighting the fight and don't ever give up, okay?
Thank you, sir. We'll touch base down the road, and we'll do another interview if you ever have time.
That's right. We'll see if our picks come true or not. All right, good luck to you. We'll talk soon.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, actor Baker Halleran right there, man. He's out fighting the fight, and that's the thing I like, man, is, you know, when you get out there, any business, you know, if you want to be in it, whether it's comedy or acting, it's going to chew you up, it's going to spit you out, and the winners are the ones who keep going forward and don't quit. And it sounds like he's a winner, man, because he said his friends left and he ain't quitting, man. That's what it takes to win. So he's a winner. Thank you for tuning in. Funny Like a Clown podcast, episode 12, and we will see you episode 13 because they just keep getting better, babe. So stay tuned. Bye-bye.